Meaningful Use Stage 2, Menu Set 3, Imaging Results. The requirements of Menu Set 3 is to measure that more than 10% of all radiology tests whose result is one or more images that is ordered by the eligible provider during the reporting period are accessible through the EMR. The objective is to ensure that imaging results that actually consist of the image itself, as well as any explanation or additional information such as a narrative, is in fact accessible through the certified electronic health record technology. Now, at the end of the reporting period for attestation, the results reported by you will be numerical, and it will represent a count of radiology tests that actually do have an image attached. Numerical results, of course, is numerator and denominator. The denominator is all tests ordered by the eligible provider during the reporting period. The numerator then will be the total number of those that actually have images attached as a radiology result. And within prognosis, it will have to have a type assigned as image or image plus narrative. Now, a couple of notes on that. When you are assigning the scan attachment type, it must be attached as a radiology result. Now, based on what your local setup is with scanning, some may scan their images as other and then create a user category of radiology result, and those will not count. Images can be attached at the order level or at the individual test level. Now, the only way to exclude yourself would be if you order less than 100 tests that actually result in an image during the reporting period, or if you do not have access to electronic imaging results at the start of the reporting period. Now, we're going to go on into prognosis, and we are going to go to our attached center first. Our patient, Olivia Pope, has had an ultrasound, and now we have the image in our hands, and so we're going to attach it to her chart. Now, there are multiple ways of attaching results, of course. When we go under Messages Attach, this is a bulk attachment. Messages Scan is a single touch scan or a document attach. So whichever one of those three options you use, you will have this function available to you to identify it as an image or an image and a narrative. So we'll look at all of them, but I'm going to first of all click on the attach, which is where we do bulk attachment. We see here that we've already got Olivia Pope's ultrasound here. So we're just going to select it. Down here in our attached to, we're going to go ahead and select Olivia as our patient. And here is where I was speaking a little bit ago, where you must attach it as a radiology result, not as an other. And when that occurs, you will notice underneath the order number, we do have a new drop down now that allows you to define it as an image or an image and a narrative. And of course, if you leave it at the default narrative, that is not compliant with this measure. It must have an image, whether or not it also has the narrative. Now, the order number, of course, will default to new unless you go in and select it. So Olivia does have a radiology order. We're just going to go ahead and select that one. And then, of course, the rest of this can be filled out based on local processes. In the category, we're just going to go ahead and say is a sonogram, and then we will just say pelvis. And we're going to attach it. So that is one way that you can attach it as a radiology result and identify it as an image. Now, if we go to Messages Scan, and this would be dependent upon if you have installed or implemented the one-touch scan in your office. Same functionality up here. The screen looks a little different because instead of being along the left-hand margin, it goes across the top, but you would still identify it as a radiology result. You would go ahead and call it a sonogram, attach the order, call it an image, and so on. So that part would be the same. But you also have the attach here, whether it is on a separate server, a separate drive on your network, or whatever. So we're just going to go ahead here and attach that same pelvis ultrasound through the one-touch attach. Any of those options will work for you. Now, since we have attached it, I'm just going to go to Olivia's chart so you can see what it looks like. So over here on the left-hand table of content, we're going to choose radiology result by order, and there it is. Now notice that it's under the attachment. because it was a scan that we attached. So under the results part, there is no answer here. So that would still be up to you. If you need that for your progress note or something, you could go ahead and attach a result, but that is not part of the measure. The measure's requirement is that you attach the image. Now, the way we just did it was at the order level. Recall when we went under the messages attached, no matter what option we chose, we had to associate it to an order. You also have the opportunity of attaching it to the result itself. So if it had not come in at the time the result did, maybe they called it in or something and said they would fax it later, and you wanted to go ahead and document it during the visit what the result was. So let's say positive for pregnancy. And then the image comes in later in the day. You can go into the paperclip and attach the image here as well. Here you will do it as an add new because it's going to create it as if it's a slideshow at the result level. And again, you would just browse here to where it is on your server. And then in here is where you would choose the image or image plus narrative. So multiple ways of being able to attach it to the chart. Entirely up to you which one of those processes you choose, as long as it is getting attached to the patient's radiology order within the reporting period, and you identify it as either an image or an image plus a narrative.